For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Water. We are in our warmer studio right now in the second floor, actually over the boxes. Actually, it's a nice view behind us.
It's a beautiful view. Look at that.
It's good. Grass looks good, nice and green.
It's got plenty of water the last couple of days.
Yeah, it does feel like the rain has sort of finally stopped.
You can turn the sprinklers off now, please.
Incredible. That was a long, sustained rain.
We haven't had one of those in a long. I told you yesterday it was coming. Yeah, I warned you.
Not only did you have all those winters yesterday, but you were right in the weather too.
It's still. Thank you. It's still coming down a little bit. So supposed to wrap up right after post time for the first.
It wasn't really anything we could.
No.
I mean, I didn't even need. If I don't need the umbrella coming out of your car, then
that's true too.
It's pretty.
I'm not an umbrella.
I'm not really an umbrella guy. Anyway, you need to head over to Naira Bets before you enjoy all of this. And you have no idea how great this is going to be. I mean, you can't even imagine what you're going to see over the next 50 minutes here, 45 minutes. We're offering you a free $25 bet. Use the promo code CUP25. Head to Naira Bet. Support horse racing in New York. Play through Naira Bet. Will also match up to $200, your initial deposit. Excuse me. The promo code is CUP25. How you doing today?
I'm good. If there's time at the end of the show, I think you and I should have an arm wrestling contest. What do you think? This is a good table for that. It's very over the top feel.
Are you a big arm wrestler?
No, I haven't arm. I haven't. No, not since I retired. I was big. It was big in junior high school and over the top.
We have a Naira employee who's a very considers himself an accomplished arm wrestler.
Does he do this? Does he?
I don't want to reveal who it was, but I watched Kieran Fallon pin him once. He thought he would beat Kieran.
There were a lot of screaming, those guys and those gals. They scream a lot.
I knew somebody who was actually a big arm wrestler, and he was a consultant, I believe, in that Sylvester Stallone movie.
Over the Top. I've been talking about Over the Top for the last 90 seconds. Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, that's nothing better than Over the Top.
I know somebody was the consultant.
Lincoln Hawk. He turns the hat around. That's what I do. That's what I do when I handicap the cart. When I know I'm going to sit next to you, turn the cap around, and I turn into a machine.
You know, I like this setup.
I know you do.
Really, a very big thank you to
We don't have to worry about the tractor. We don't have to worry about anything.
Oh, big thank you to everybody, the guys and everybody that we work with in the truck that do a great job. And they really, I mean, I don't think anyone can appreciate the amount of work they do. I mean, we're on TV for, an average of about 5.5, 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then people in the truck make those shows go. We've got another month. We'll be doing the first month at Aqueduct, too, and doing those Churchill races as well, 5 days a week, actually, through the first month of Aqueduct. And to set this studio up for it, we appreciate that. The elements are a little bit tough, but we do appreciate the amount of work that went into getting this done.
We do.
Yep. Should we get to work?
Yes.
We are off the turf today, in case you are surprised by that.
Yeah.
I was not. Race number 1. We'll get those picks up. There they are.
Boom.
Oh, right there, that Klarovich first-time starter. I feel like Klarovich looks like they're pretty good spot to win the owner's title. How many owner's titles in a row?
I don't know.
Well, they didn't win the Aqueduct, I don't think. The winter one.
Probably not. But they won quite a few races last winter.
Okay, so where are we going here?
Just going with Digital Future. No, not a tip or anything. I just.
Well, you have tips sometimes.
I do. So my information over there is pretty good.
Yeah, you gave me a great tip the other day. Is that horse finished yet?
From Chad?
No.
The last one the last one I had from Chad was Starfront.
No. You gave me a tip when I was on the train coming home on Sunday, and I told you I didn't believe it, and I was right.
Oh yeah. Anywho, No tip. First, they're breaking from the rail. Irad Ortiz Jr. A couple of bullets over at Monmouth Park. I used to stay away from these maidens as best I could, but I tell you the truth. In here, I wanted the horses really who hadn't run, so I leaned on the 2 first-time starters. Digital Future. 2 of the first is Digital Future number 1, and the 3 Nepotism.
The obvious 2 firsters are Digital Future and Nepotism, and as is proven out, the horses 2-year-olds at Monmouth have done very well over time. They're the logical 2. I took Highway Bound on top. This horse with experience. You know me, I love experience. And this horse has a gigantic pedigree. And first time out, broke about a length and a half slow, stayed in the back, and sort of got herself into the race, or himself into the race. Stood in the gate at the start and just ran like a horse that just didn't know what he was doing first time out. It's too much pedigree for this horse, and ran against a good field first time out to have no ability. So I'm going to give a shot to Highway Bound with the experience in the first race.
Blinkers and the cutback from 6.5 to 6. So hoping for a little bit of a better start, obviously. Couldn't get much worse than last time, and hopefully the blinkers. Now, the blinkers, this is a natural move when you see a horse break the way he did first time out. With the 2-year-olds, and I'm not about to tell Belmont how to train horses. He won 5,000 plus more races than I have.
How many wins do you have?
None. I like to. I don't have any losses either.
You make a great point.
I like when the 2-year-olds are given a chance to try to work it out before making a lot of changes.
Okay. Is it a little odd sitting in here with absolutely no noise?
The background, the lack of background noise is.
It's really similar to Aqueduct, It's
no, we got stuff going on at Aqueduct. The heat goes on and off.
Oh yeah,
Roy's
drips,
outside. Roy's drips. Roy's outside.
I miss Roy. He called me the other day, actually.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, my good friend Roy.
I got to give Roy a call. Nepotism,
Oldest
really
friends.
quick, is a half to a horse that Chad Brown had named Canteen, who romped here on a wet track. So I don't know
Which one's after Canteen?
The 3, Nepotism. So
I have that written down.
Keep that in mind. She ran really well. She ran really well on a wet track. So at least
Did she run better on a wet track than she ran on a dry track?
She ran well on a wet track, man. She broke a minute with like 8 lengths.
Race number 2. I'm hoping that. I hope Jake Rocks is okay, but he's about the most surprising scratch in the card.
On a day where there were quite a few interesting scratches. I think we agreed on that, especially in this race alone.
Crazy.
This was one of them.
One of the favorites in here.
Yeah.
Surprised to see that. We'll take a look at Tear Gun, who I'm not surprised that we both have on top in here. And this is 2 races back on a sloppy track at Aqueduct. And it's not that he's any better in a sloppy track, but he handled it. And I don't know, it just seemed like the right horse in the drop down. There just isn't really much to go on in this race, is there?
No, I don't think so. No, let me ask you this question, Andy. I know it waned throughout the day, but the way this track was yesterday, for the most part, aren't you worried about this horse today having to make up a lot of ground?
Well, yes, I am. I am. I'm going to say something. A couple things, though. I am, and I'm glad you brought that up. Jake Rocks was listed as a vet scratch, by the way.
Okay.
Which makes a lot of sense. First of all, Dave Dog doesn't scratch horses on wet tracks, so he leaves in horses that don't have much chance to win, and he's sort of the king. He's one of the best off the turf guys. So, yeah. So yeah, I am worried. Looking at yesterday's races, because I was thinking the results were fairly logical in the first half of the card.
First half.
And then the 6th race came, and I know there was that incident with the horse, and boy, I think we all breathed a sigh of relief. I was able to look out my office window and see Irad Ortiz walking off after that race, and we're all very happy that Irad escaped that okay. And that was scary.
You watch his athleticism.
Unbelievable.
He crawls. He doesn't break stride. He hits the ground and he just crawls right underneath. No, ordinarily that's a good sign. It's also their fight response where they hit the ground, they try as best they can to get under the rail. So it's not like, all right, he's under the rail, he's okay. But the way he did it, it looked like a gymnast.
You weren't shaken up watching that. Yeah. That was. And we're
it was scary because
the guy rode less than an hour later. Yeah, unbelievable. In these conditions, right? If you can't respect Irad Ortiz, respect all these guys, but to respect Irad Ortiz after that was really. So we're very glad to see that Irad was okay. But aside from the incident, obviously that race collapsed. On the other hand, the winner was much the best. The winner was the favorite, the logical horse.
And it was a 7/8 race.
And the 3 went.
Everybody's chasing.
They weren't really dirt horses. And if you look, some horses made up some ground. And maybe as the day went on, it was a little easier to make up ground. I do wonder a little bit, because the rain hasn't stopped. And I think as the rain stopped, because I think there can be a difference between a sustained rain during the day and without rain. The track will dry a little bit and change a little bit. I don't know. I think I would err on the side of speed. You certainly wouldn't want to stay
Agreed.
away from speed, but it may not be the same as yesterday.
Also keep in mind, it's been windy. So when this rain does stop, my assumption is the crew's going to start to work on the track even more, and the wind is going to, Mother Nature's going to be able to take a course and get some of this moisture out of the track. So maybe
What's the
early
commercial?
on,
The Mother Nature? Never. Nobody. What's
never,
the Mother Nature?
never mess with Mother Nature.
Yeah,
Never doubt Mother
don't
Nature.
mess with Mother
Don't mess
Nature.
with Mother Nature. So earlier in the card, I wouldn't be surprised if the track was similar to yesterday's, but keep
I mean, the
make
speed
sure.
in here is probably Dubai Bobby, and I mean, his dirt races are just atrocious. But on the other hand, I mean, I didn't put him in there. I probably should have.
I think Unprecedented will show some speed
Yeah,
as well.
so did I. I thought Unprecedented would as well.
Johnny Velasquez isn't going to, Johnny Velasquez is watching those races and knows how that track was playing yesterday. He's not going to.
He's got better dirt for him, so
does.
he's supposed to be going forward. But I agree. I do have a tough time. I mean, Tirgan is the worst to beat. Beachfront's okay as well, but their lack of speed is problematic.
It is.
And one thing about Beachfront, even though he should have been placed first in that race, he was the only horse in the Rob Atras run that wasn't able to win. So I point that out.
I think
as well.
Daring Disguise is worth mentioning too.
Yeah.
I know Jimmy Bond's barn has cooled off considerably down here at Belmont.
You think?
But
Yeah, they were all geared up to win at Saratoga.
They were.
Horses lost conditions. It's not that surprising.
And in a race where, I guess Dubai Bobby does have some speed. Or maybe Luis Saez takes a chance with Daring Disguise and tries to just blast off and get him to the front today.
Well, he's not fast enough.
He's not fast
He's
enough,
not
but
even
again,
remote.
intent.
He's not even remotely fast
Okay.
enough, but he could. I think that you have a false impression that Luis Saez is just sending away on every horse.
I don't know. I don't think
really
that, but
watch.
I do
He
think,
doesn't do that.
But I do think that in a race that.
Well, I think he'll
I
be
think is
somewhat. He'll be
crying out
somewhat.
for- yeah.
Well, there are faster horses. I think you have to be careful. There are considerably faster horses than him in this race, and both the two, but also the four, are just faster than him. You can't really put horses in the lead necessarily that don't have any speed.
Well,
Daring Disguise doesn't have any speed.
we'll see what he does. We'll see
slow.
what Louis does.
Race number 3.
Breaking away from there.
You're getting the Klarovich. The Klarovich double. 2 out of 3. You're really looking to solidify that title.
Do you have anything clever?
Well, I'm going to show you Suspended Campaign's first race, which was a little better than the second race. And then I'm going to show you a Chad Brown stat, which is a very small sample size. But I got to tell you something. This horse can win. I'm not sure this horse has really much.
You might be right.
This horse just,
Listen,
she
we've
just
seen
isn't
quite a
much.
few of these horses that ran well first time out in Saratoga as 2-year-old, the 2-year-olds come back and be underwhelming down here, right? And Grave really didn't run particularly well.
I didn't think Grave ran that well in Saratoga, to be honest. But
Ran better than he ran here.
that is you get another. That's a good one.
So, but the drop in here,
Well, do we put the Chad Brown stat
the
up?
cut back.
Francisco, we have a Chad Brown
I
stat
don't
for this
believe we
race.
saw the stat. Here it comes.
There we go. I know it's a small sample size, and 6 of them did hit the board, but every single one of these horses was a short price, and it's just
Not unexpected.
And I know the 6 hit the board, and probably they could have been 3 for 8, but honestly, 3 for 8 may not be great for this horse, and it feels like Chad's dumping these horses. Because they're just not very good. Now, she may win because there's nobody else in the race that can run. But speaking of speed, aren't you afraid that Well-Kept Secret's going to, as you like to say, get in front of these?
You would think that's what Joel Rosario would attempt to do in here.
We'd have to put a hammerlock on the horse not to do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Crubera wasn't that slow last time. You really think that she's that much
Yes, she
slower
actually
than
was
her?
that slow.
Yeah.
That's a wildly slow pace
Okay.
in that race.
All right. Well, then, yes, she will be in front.
She's supposed to. I mean, the 2, I'm not saying the 2 can't be a bit forward in here. So you don't like the 4, huh, at all? You didn't think that this horse was logical, dropping down at a tough maiden race?
I didn't know
At least
what
showed
to do
speed
here,
first
Andy.
time?
I didn't know what to do here.
I like maidens to show speed first time. And this has nothing to do with I picked this horse long before I
Yeah.
thought that speed might be an
No, I
advantage
gotcha.
in this track. I just thought this horse was the right horse dropping. The Asmussen barn, for what it's worth, 3 for 13, 6 hitting the board, 207 ROI with first time maiden claim on the dirt at Nairo, second time starters.
Okay. I think my man Louis Lazanaro's horse is interesting in here too.
Well, you think every horse will Louis Lazanaro.
Getting onto a wet track. I mean, if there's any horse in here that's bred to particularly care for a wet track, it's probably her. She had the turf debut in the.
She only has 15 more points in the Tomlinson figure than suspended campaign. So.
Yes, I mean, I can't even believe I brought it up. It feels silly, me, Tomlinson. Woo.
The highest Tomlinson? Is this the highest Tomlinson?
It is. It is the highest Tomlinson. You know, I've actually made a point to start underlining it just to make light of it.
Really, the only handicapping angle that matters, Anthony. Let's get down to brass tacks.
I like
here.
the ones that for the distance. How do you even know that?
I like when the Euros come over and their distance shows that they can't go, and it's like 207 or something.
I like the wet track 166 for the Euros. Those are the best.
Those are the best. Race number 4. By the way, I don't know if we mentioned it, but we're off the turf.
All day.
You picked the same horse as me? Did you peek at my picks? How do you like this horse, too? This is the horse.
Yeah.
No, this is the horse. I was talking to Jay Privman, and we were talking about Breeders' Cups. We were going through all Breeders' Cups, and Jay was saying how this is the first year this is the first Breeders' Cup Jay's going to miss.
I wonder how many other people could say that.
It's pretty remarkable, actually.
I know. I remember when I was working at the Post, when the Post fired everybody in 2013. Ed Fontaine had been to every one. Ed was the beat writer for the Post for a long time.
He wasn't able to go on and do his column and take shots at me all the time for wearing a hat when it was 30 degrees up there?
I'm just making a point.
I'm just wondering.
I think he said that there were 7. That there were 7 guys up until 2013 that had guys and gals that had been to every one. I wonder how many.
I'm guessing the number is over 7. Or he meant in the press. He meant the press.
In the press, yeah. I think the number was 7. Who had passed away, who had retired. Right. So I think the number was 7. But
do you remember the second? You know the second dam of this horse is? Second dam of this horse is Jeannie Jones. We were talking about the Breeders' Cup at Hollywood Park, and I was talking about Very Subtle, and I was saying how I missed the double because Epitome, it was like $100 or something, beat Jeannie Jones by 1. And I said, I just looked up a pedigree on a horse. The second dam was Jeannie Jones, and it's Frosted Bourbon.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny. Look, there's I mean. It's a little bit of and it wasn't intended, but this is a little bit of I don't want to say a kitchen
sink. You copied my
pick.
Just admit it.
I mean.
Give us a reason.
She gets a big rider upgrade here to Louis Saez. She's going to get onto a main track. I mean, I don't know.
You picked her, so you must have a reason.
Turf pedigree? I mean, is she really a turf horse? Mark's numbers, by the way, Mark Henig's numbers are, he's 0 for 45, I think, first-time turf. And this filly actually ran pretty well first time on the turf.
No, she didn't. But the dam is
6 lengths.
Being 6 lengths in a turf race, like being 60 lengths in a dirt race.
For a barn that doesn't
fire? She did absolutely no running first time out. Now, the reason Mark put her on the turf is the dam is 4 for 7 with her production in the turf. I agree, though. There is plenty of dirt pedigree in this horse. And I start looking at the race, and we'll look at Kara's Dreamer, okay? We'll look at her last race. One thing I will say about Kara's Dreamer, and I think you're crazy not to have her in your top 4. This race is probably better than it looks. Frost Me ran 5 points better. Frost Me was the most overbet horse of all time.
That was amazing last Saturday.
In the May of the Miss, but she did run a much better race. So this might be a better race than it looks. And Kara's Dreamer has the experience. She can be somewhat forward, and I think you're a little crazy leaving her out. Now, the horse who's probably going to take a lot of money in here is the 10 Mendham. I'm not convinced that Mendham can handle the dirt at all.
Okay.
Now, I've got the horse second, too, because Todd seems to do well with these horses, and his horses are all running well these days. But do you really – I mean, I didn't want to pick the 10 on top. The 10 is going to be a big favorite in this race. I think for all the wrong reasons. 10's
going to be very short, yeah. 10 will be short. Again, knowing the weather, my assumption would be by mornings out of a Tisnell mare, this horse is going to – have
a 427 Tomlinson.
Have very little problems handling a wet track.
Yeah, but that's not –
Andy,
horses really run
there's a lot of
phony wet track
here,
pedigrees. Well, I mean, they're all questions. Clement leaves his horse in. Why not? There wasn't really any reason to like this horse on either surface, and horses sort of interchangeable. I've got the horse in 4th.
What about there was something really interesting in here for me. The bottom horse, 10 Plagues, who was virtually eased on dirt first time out, gets Irad Ortiz Jr. today.
I noticed that too. Is Irad riding this horse?
I mean, take a look at the program.
I noticed that. I have that circle.
That's just
Anthony. Look, I have it
that's
circled.
really weird, right? Yeah. I mean, look at that horse's performance.
Irad
Ortiz Jr. And it's not even like, You know, she's a main track.
No,
only.
I
T. Junior's
she's
named
usable.
on the program.
I agree.
I found that very.
I'm not knocking anybody here. You and I picked a horse on top that may have absolutely no chance whatsoever.
No question about it. No question about it.
This horse had trouble to start last time out. I don't know if this horse did absolutely no running in the race whatsoever, but I'm willing to give Frosted Bourbon a chance in the dirt because there is enough pedigree to handle the dirt. But this race is.
It's like you said. Christophe Clement leaves his horse in.
Christophe leaves horses in off the turf.
Destiny.
And this horse doesn't have any reason to be a particular turf horse. And also remember that it wasn't like when they drew this race that there was a lot of optimism that we'd be on the turf.
Right.
Because in reality if the storm didn't changed, it was going to come later, and we'd be on the turf on Thursday, and Friday was done.
Right.
Friday, I mean.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, because that storm could have come later in the day on Friday. Later in the day on Friday, right? But today was almost an absolute. I mean, so in reality, you know, I think a lot of people entered here knowing that there was a very good chance they wouldn't be on the turf.
Yeah.
You know, you could give me a great point. You're being very stingy.
Being stingy, yeah. I mean,
race number 5. Well, we'll look at Wushu Warrior in race number 5, who is probably the speed in here. Though, you know, we'll see if Eric Cancel is aggressive with this horse as Marquez was last time. And I thought Marquez was supposed to be coming back relatively quickly. You hear anything about him?
It's only been 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, but it was.
I thought it was like 3 weeks. I thought it was.
No, I thought it was going to be less because it turned out it was minor. We'll get an update on that. Anyhow. There's other speed in here. I mean, you know, Justin Front could show speed. Professor Stape could show speed. He also took advantage of a very strong, you know, inside this day where he was on for most of the race. I feel like we missed the boat with him. He's the horse to beat, but I don't want to put this horse on top.
Okay.
I just don't.
I did. I wasn't thrilled about it, but for me, I did not know the morning line at 2-1. I mean,
well, didn't you assume this horse would be a happy favorite?
I don't know. If
I'm surprised David has my horse as short as he does.
I couldn't assume, Andy, that anybody. I thought he'd be the favorite. I don't know. Do you really think he's going to be 2-1?
Well, let me ask you a question, Anthony. Who's going to take money in here?
I think it's going to be a very spread out board. I can't imagine a horse is 2-1 in here. That would be.
I'll be shocked if this horse is over 2-1.
Wow.
I'll give you. I'll take 670 and below. We haven't bet at lunch.
I'll give you 650. You can have six.
No,
you can have half.
Where are we at? We're like 50. We're like 53 or something. 52. Yeah, we went 3-1. We were at 50. I went 3-1. And really, I only give you the one because you had such a bad day.
What did you give me?
Some horse that got left or something. It was some.
No. Nobody got left. Licca got beat 40.
Oh no, my horse. Yeah, was eased. Right. Okay, I'll remember that next time you have a horse that's eased. I've let you off on horses.
We never canceled eased. We canceled drops. We canceled bad starts.
Yeah, we have.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I like hardcore folklore in this race. Off the claim for Wayne Potts, who's had some success shipping horses in here. And, you know, I look at this horse. He's had on the wet track before. That's not really the reason I did it. This horse has the ability to be better than these horses. Now, obviously, his running style could be compromised if we have a speed track. But this horse in the go-back has plenty of races that are better than these horses. And I know this horse was interesting off the claim. Claim from a trainer was 5%. You know, I understand Charlie Baker gave up on this horse, but it's not like he ran that badly when he was claimed by Charlie Baker. Wayne Potts' horse are running, Irad's riding. I know this horse is interesting. That's why David has
the one thing I worry about this horse is those conditioned races. Not one is in 6 months. Not one is in 9 months. He's not getting the job done in those races at Monmouth Park.
But look who he's running against here.
I
realize you have to have Nota in every race, but that horse is ridiculous.
How are you going to leave that horse out on a wet track, Andy?
He's a terrible horse. He's got the same running style as my horse, and my horse is better. Simple enough for me.
Well, maybe
you've got to upgrade because it's Nota, and I get it.
That's the lunch bet.
By the way, the performance of that crew when their 4-5 shot was 5 in front, the 16th play yesterday. I mean, act like you've been there before. My gosh.
You want 2 versus 3 for a lunch?
Sure.
All right, let's do that instead of the other bet. Let's do 2 versus 3 for a lunch.
We haven't bet any lunches. I think we're done.
Break time.
Take a break.
I'm not going anywhere, but we'll take a break.
I'm very comfortable in here. I like it.
You love it in here. I know you do. I need more.
Imagine being upstairs. You'd be by yourself because I wouldn't have got out of bed today.
Yeah,
anyhow,
upstairs would have been rough today.
Talking Horses presented by Saratoga Water. We'll be back in just a moment after we hear from our good friends at Saratoga Water.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. He's the Big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. And our new digs here, staying out of the cold. Once again, much appreciation to everybody for setting this up. Race number 6 kicks off the late pick 5. Remember, it was the Naira Betts late pick 5?
I do.
It's no longer the Naira
I
Betts
do.
late pick 5, but it is the best bet in racing.
They'll always be, in my heart, it'll always be the Naira Betts late pick 5.
You make a great point. Let's take a look at Wasp.
Let's do that.
You picked against Wasp.
I did.
Wow.
I did.
I mean, I realize Wasp is the most moto horse of all time, but I couldn't pull the trigger against this horse.
Yeah, horse ran fine first time out, and I'm sure with a little improvement, and well, I mean, I could actually run the race she ran first time out. I have no real knocks. I'm using 2 horses in this race. This horse is going to be the shortest price on the card.
Feels like it.
Yeah,
It should be, right?
Yeah, absolutely should be. Should be.
I mean,
Like I said, no real knocks. This was another one.
I can't make a case again. I tried to, but
Not along the lines of 10 plagues, but
oh, you're just going to pick all the Tom Morley.
this horse ran. Hold on a second. This horse ran away.
Except for the horse that almost won State Outfield. Didn't have a
This horse ran away from Javier Castellano last time out when the blinkers went on. This horse was just a complete runoff. 44 on the turf. Castellano's riding this horse back. And they're going back to the dirt. This horse ran twice on the dirt.
Why wouldn't Javier ride this?
Well, I mean, you know, this horse obviously was a runoff last time, and more often than not, you know, guys of Javier's status don't want to ride these horses back when, frankly, need to.
Horse ran the dirt twice.
He's
Didn't
back,
do any
yeah.
running.
2 dirt races, debut sprinting at Oaklawn, ran against Coach of American Oaks winner Paris Lights in the subsequent start. I don't know what the deal is here, why he's riding this horse back. I mean, but the blinkers went on last time. This horse is going to be in front today, and I'm hoping we have the same kind of racetrack last time, and I'm hoping there's a little. This would be clear-cut voodoo. Like when you talk about my voodoo, why is Castellano back? He ran off. This is the voodoo.
You ever think you spend way too much time thinking about voodoo and you should spend more time handicapping?
No, they're the only two because.
What does it matter that Javier's riding the horse? He rode it last time and he had a call on the horse and he rode him back. Why is this a big story?
I don't know. It just feels weird.
I think you're making up nonsense.
It feels weird that the horse was did what he did. She did what she did last time.
Can I bet you a lunch? I'll take 5 over 6.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You got it.
I think Kyle Haddad is the worst. I know he ran badly last time, but I'll take a shot. He runs better. He's got back races, or she does. I'm sorry, that are fast enough to be competitive behind Wasp. And I thought she was the most likely horse to beat Wasp, other than your voodoo horse. I've got Portofino third. I'm not. Listen, nobody's going to shock me here. Wasp doesn't have to win.
Right.
I don't really trust her, but she's probably going to win.
Michelle Nevins Barnes going well. Tabula Rasa gets Lasix, goes to the dirt for the first time. Number 4.
Okay. And so what?
I'm just.
It's a 392 Tomlinson, but it has an asterisk. What does that mean, the asterisk?
That means it could be better.
Oh, I think it means it could be worse. I think it's incomplete data. Race number 7.
Why do you have to be negative?
I think it means it could be either. It means it's open.
Well, I think it could be.
It could be better.
I think it could be better. You think it could be
better.
worse?
It could be
That's
both.
about right.
Both. It's true. Race number 7 off
You
the
make a
turf.
great point.
Race number 7.
You don't like doing that, right? I mean, I've been trying to do it too. Doing a little like the look around the camera, because just try to see what's going on.
Well, it is a little, but listen, it's all good.
Yeah, you're not allowed to complain.
Oh, complain. Happy as a clam.
I know you are.
All right, go ahead. Race number 7. What do you like about this horse?
I don't.
This is a voodoo horse.
This is a voodoo.
This
horse.
is definitely.
I'm giving you a little voodoo today. It's this guy. It's a little weird day. We're in the cozy confines.
I had the horse 5th. Because this guy had one winner with a shipper down in Florida, right?
This was the Mi Cientos horse, right? That beat Fortin Hill. What's this guy?
Paid $10. No.
No. Different guy?
Different guy. I thought it was that horse, too. No, his horse paid $10.
Okay.
They knew. It was an all-time they knew.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a lot of this is voodoo. 3 works in the last month and a half. The Lasix, Louis Saez is riding this horse. 4 for
But they entered turf
down there.
But they entered turf.
But they entered turf, yeah.
Knowing maybe the race would come off, so that's fair.
7
They're still coming. Okay. Listen, I'm not knocking anybody here. I guess Solitary Gem will be one of the favorites in here. The number 16. Who you have nowhere in the top 4? No Solitary Gems in your
I don't
top
like Solitary Gem. You like Solitary Gem today?
Well, she runs this race. She's going to be pretty tough. She's handled a wet track, one of your signature concerns. I know she didn't run well last time, but what chance did she have against that field last time? You don't think Solitary Gem is a logical horse in this race?
I mean, Kathy Naz, Mo Flash. I think there's some.
I'm sorry.
Some horses with upside, but more upside in here. That's all.
Like who?
Like Suggestive Honor, like My Sweet Wife.
Suggestive Honor is just a guess. It's just a stab. It's to try to be a wise guy. That's
what was
fine.
wrong with My Sweet Wife last time? I don't think there was anything wrong with her performance. For Hoya
Speaking of My Sweet Wife, let's take a look at her performance last time. See, I disagree with you completely. This was a setup race. First of all, she was a they knew of all time last time, and this was a very fast pace that collapsed in the late stages. And I think this race just fell into her lap. I'm not saying she can't win today. I've got her 4th, but I don't know. I think this was a gimme. This was just a gimme race last time. Everything just dropped in her lap.
Okay.
And she had a perfect trip, fast pace. Race fell apart. Don't really like these horses she ran against. I think there's a very interesting horse in this race, in Sweet Kisses.
Okay.
And
I got a 3rd.
You know that I liked her a little bit last time, and she's improved now. She clearly improved in the turf. On the other hand, this is a horse that ran a race in her second career start for Jeremiah that could beat this field, and that was a 2-year-old.
Multiple stakes winner in finite, yeah.
And I know she caught some wet tracks. Things went wrong, but I think her races recently show that she's back in good form. And maybe she just was glad to get on the turf, and she doesn't want to run the dirt anymore. And that's possible. On the other hand, this horse is a 2-year-old. I mean, she was the second choice in the Tempted. And she obviously had the potential to be okay. She's back in form. She could just steamroll this field.
She could. I'll be using her. I don't think she'll be anyone. I mean, obviously it's a morning line for her.
Well, no, you can't look at.
But she'll be 5-1, right? She should be 4-5-1.
Oh yeah, it's hard for anybody to be that short in this race. Who's going to be short in here? So what about 50 Shades of Green? I mean, you like that bad horse in the last race on this switch. Isn't this horse a much better horse?
She got beat a length and a half yesterday, the horse in the last race. Girardi.
Anthony, big deal. Was she really competitive?
No, I mean, you're acting like she got beat a pole.
No, I picked her 3rd. I'm not like saying, but if you, that's not what I said. I said I didn't say that at all. She could have won yesterday. What I said is you liked a bad horse that Lynn was taking over. This is a horse that makes sense.
Yeah, there's no sprint form here. All of this horse's races have been long.
Except Linda entered in a sprint.
I know. But see,
what do you worry about going mile to 7 furlongs? What do you worry about cutting back to 7 furlongs? That's not a sprint.
I worry because
you worry about so much silliness.
She's taking this horse from a guy in John Service who's as sharp as they come, and John ran on one.
Yesterday, you wanted to switch off John Service. Oh, you're sucking up to him because you didn't want it because
I wanted to switch.
You clearly disrespected.
You don't want. I mean, does it matter who the horse is coming from? If it's going to Linda Rice, you want to bet on horses Linda Rice is taking over. So I don't think it matters who they're coming from.
I think this horse is dangerous. A lot of horses are dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. This horse is going to take money. And
I tell you who's going to be mad at you. Maggie. You've disrespected her girl, Leah. Leah's.
I think there are other more interesting horses in the race.
Leah in the top 4.
I think there are more interesting horses in the race. I do.
Okay.
Sorry, gang.
Race number 8. So Jump for Joy in race number 8, the 5. We'll take a look at her against the boys. The overlay of the century, the Sakari, paid $18 in this race. Should have paid $7. You know what worries me about her? She's not sealing the deal. I know she's the speed. The race that really bothered me with her was that race at Saratoga where she finished 3rd, beating a neck. And then she's even money at Penn National and she doesn't win. That bothers me. She's obviously the horse to beat here, but doesn't that concern you a little bit?
Now, we can talk about Kathy Naz and Solitary Gem when it comes to this bunch. That and this we could talk about.
Anthony, it's an apples and oranges discussion.
Well, what I'm saying is...
No, that's a ridiculous argument because
I don't think it's a
the
ridiculous
last
argument,
race is a race that's
she's
off the
been-
turf, and the other horse has form. Why? You think the winner of this race is going to... The winner of the 7th race is going to run so much better than the winner of this 8th race? I mean, that's what you actually believe?
I believe that she is now...
That's a bad opinion.
This is a... Forget about the Penn National race.
But you can't. Why should I forget about the Penn National race? Why should I forget?
Because I don't know those horses at Penn National.
Well, you can look them up in Formulator, and they're not very good.
I know that she
What do you mean you don't know them?
has faced better horses here in her last 2 starts than she's facing today.
I understand that. She's a heavy favorite. I picked her second. She can obviously win. She's not going to be 5-2. She's going to be shorter. And I'm not saying she can't win. I picked her second. I think there's reasons to be a little bit concerned. I've got her second. I would never play a multi-race bet and not use her. But she's a vulnerable horse that I think could be a pretty heavy favorite here.
Yeah, you see, I didn't think she would be that short, but maybe you're right.
Well, you got Rob Atras off the claim. Hey, we have a stat for Rob Atras off the claim. How about this for the last 90 days? Rob Atras off the claim on the dirt.
There you go.
How about that?
3 months.
7 for 14.
Great numbers.
423 ROI.
Yep.
So you got to use this horse. Absolutely, right?
Yep. And what about No Deal? I mean, I know she had to go out of town
I don't bet Penn
to
National
find her
wins.
better races, but
But her form was so bad in New York when she came back.
I know. But it was off. She was
didn't
off
get
a little
bad.
bit of a
You're
break.
right. Yeah. Well, isn't she also supposed to be forward? Well, Eric won't be forward, but she should be forward. Right?
I mean,
She's best
you
when
would
she's
think.
aggressive, right?
Yeah. The day against Jump for Joy when she came back off the February break.
I'm betting excess capacity.
She just didn't break that day.
I'm betting excess capacity.
Okay.
It's not clear the rail was bad last time, but there's an argument it was, and this horse spent almost the whole race on the rail. I love when those Parks riders go to the rail. They don't ride there enough.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And she's handled the wet track, so you can't use that against me. I also think 6 furlongs is better. She was going to win that race at 6 furlongs. It looked like 2 races back. And I would argue that might be a better field than she's running against here. It's certainly a comparable field. She's got figures that are fast enough. I thought she made a tremendous amount of sense this race. I think she's just fast enough. And I think you can make an excuse that she was on the rail last time.
Okay.
Don't have her in your top 4.
I left her open.
You've got her above Cyranic.
I left her open.
George Weaver off the claim in the last 5 years. 1 for 10, 35-cent ROI. Just doesn't claim that much. Race number 9.
Oh, imagine how he's only claimed 10 horses in 5 years.
Yeah, it's not surprising. He doesn't claim that many horses.
2 a year?
Is that surprising? You remember George claiming a lot of horses?
I'll
be honest with you, I thought it could have been lower.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll look at Foolish Ghosts in race number 9, who's going to be... 3 Klaroviches on top today. Huh! Wow, it's probably not a record for you, but it's got to be close. Wasn't this horse the speed again? Or was last time the time for this horse?
I almost talked myself into this horse last time. Yeah, I mean, again, this horse, this is probably the horse on the card that
you just had a almost red board?
This is a horse. I almost.
I didn't like him at all last time.
I would have hit the pick 5.
I'm honest.
If I used him, I would have hit the pick 5 last time. It was the 3rd horse in.
David liked him, Aragona. He was all over him.
7 concerns me with him, obviously. I know he's won at 7, but...
Once again, and I'll say this until I'm blue in the face, speed horses have a better chance of wiring fields at 7 than they do at 6. So you got to get away from that. It's a bad opinion.
I don't.
We've had this argument in the show, and you proved me wrong every time.
I think that's too much of a generalization.
It's not a generalization.
That's just me.
He's a lone speed on paper. That means he projects to be able to get away with a moderate first quarter.
I mean, I guess he's loose.
And Bigster scratched.
Yeah, well...
Less spiteful kitten. Maybe Cardenas will go. He's aggressive.
I have no idea.
Cardenas a big day yesterday. You have 2 wins or 3?
I know
2.
of 2.
He didn't have the favorite in the 5th. He didn't win.
Yeah.
Big day. So cost basis. We'll take a look at cost basis breaking his maiden.
You know, when I look at these races...
What do you do when you look at these races?
I tend to gravitate towards the horses that are cut out to be the nice horses. And I know this horse was cut out to be a nice horse, and they've had trouble keeping him on the racetrack. You see the gaps in the form. I'm hoping that the cost basis they were hoping, I'm hoping that the cost basis they were hoping was going to show up earlier this year, shows up in here.
Okay. I've got him second. I'm hoping he runs well, too. I like Wild Medagliadoro. obviously, if the track is very kind of speed, he's not going to win. And he is a snake bit horse. But this is a conversation, and, I said it when he ran in Saratoga, when he ran a winning race that day. That was a track that was very kind of speed, very kind of the inside, stumbled to start, and he was trying to close wide. He ran very, very well, actually, to finish third 2 races back. And it's funny, I was saying on Talking Horses and on the Serial Live show that I thought that Mark Casse really sort of made a mistake with this horse. The best races he ever ran were sprinting in his first 2 starts. The second to Code of Honor, when he tried to make a big wide close in a big slow pace race that Code of Honor was setting. And Mark texted me, actually, and he said, I totally agree with you. He said, I completely messed up with this horse, and you're right, he wants to go shorter and stuff. And, it's frustrating. He's trying to find non-winners of ones, and it's hard to find, so they try the turf, and he's run well on the turf, too, and then he caught fire. So this horse has been unlucky. Now, I am worried that there's not going to be a ton of pace, and the track like yesterday could hurt him, but I have to bet Wild Medagliadoro in this
Fair
horse.
enough.
I mean, you've obviously got him in the mix. The 10 horse.
Yeah, he's a little interesting, isn't he?
I made a big bet on him last time.
Did you?
Yes, Ralph Nick's extremely good stretching out with maidens. He is a dangerous horse.
A couple of bullet works in the holster.
No.
Ralph has good recent numbers coming back. I mean,
Well, I got 100. I got my 4 to 8 month layoff off a maiden win on the dirt. Ralph is 2 for 7, 288 ROI, and he's 1 for 1 turning back, so cutting back.
This horse galloped last time.
No, this horse is dangerous. I
He's
agree.
He's drawn outside.
And you got to think Saya is going to be aggressive with him. I know he's not as fast as the horse, but
he'll be close.
This horse could be closer than you think.
Got to deal with the wet track like some of the others do for the first time as well. But he's going to be a decent. I think he'll be a decent enough price where he's a little interesting in the air.
Drive considering the wind out there?
You know what, Andy? This track took a lot of. This track
No,
took
I know,
a lot of rain.
and they ran on it. I get it, but it's got to dry a little bit, right?
I mean, I know it's not raining very hard, but it's still coming down a little bit.
No, it's not. It's not.
A little bit.
No, it's not.
Not at all?
No.
Well,
Done.
all right, that's good.
Let's look. Shall we look at the weather?
Yeah. My report was rain till 2. Light rain till 2.
So it says it's light rain. My phone says it's light rain.
So it should dry out a little. I still think we're going to be at the very best.
No,
muddy
I'm
by
not
the end
saying
of the
it's
day.
going to be anything other than sloppy or muddy, but I think it could change a little bit by then. That's
Well,
all
if the
I'm
track starts to change and it
not
goes from
gonna
muddy, it's from sloppy to muddy, you would think that
saying.
there's a really good chance the track changes.
That's what I'm saying. Race number 10. Let's take a look at Tercero. Let's look at Tercero, the number 7. You don't have Tercero on top?
We both have him second, I believe, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like the 11 in this race, who came as a late scratch. I love Empire Express, actually, in here. This is Tercero finishing second in the mud to First Deputy. Isn't he the horse to beat in here?
Yeah.
And he can be forward.
He is. But they
don't have Mott on top.
They went to the tag.
Wait a second. Who'd you pick in here?
Starship Empire.
Draken?
No.
Picked. Okay, you put the numbers in a hat and you pulled it out.
I have to bet this horse today.
Is there a big tip? Be
No.
honest. Okay, because he has no chance.
No. I have to bet this horse today.
Based on what?
I wanted to bet this horse on the turf today.
Okay, that's fine.
Obviously
The horse
that
can't
didn't
run on the
happen.
turf. That's fine. But
Yeah.
The race is on the dirt now. Anthony.
I gotta give this horse. I gotta make sure I'm getting. Yeah,
You got the wrong horse, right?
No, I don't have the wrong horse. I gotta give this.
You've
horse
got a big
chance.
tip on this horse.
I don't have a tip on the horse.
Come on,
I
Anthony.
don't have a tip on the horse. Watch the replay last time.
I don't care about what happened last time. It was a turf race.
I'm gonna.
You
take
understand
a
this
shot with
horse? The horse was claimed because he's got a big turf pedigree.
I remember the whole deal. You and I talked about this last time. Yes. No, he wasn't
This
claimed.
was 25 to 1.
He wasn't claimed.
Right. Okay. This horse was 25 to 1 in a maiden 20 at Gulfstream. Do you know what those maiden 20s look like at Gulfstream?
They're awful. I know they.
Awful would be unfair to awful.
I know what they
There
look
are
like.
awful horses that go, listen, I'm awful, but.
I know what they look like.
Okay.
I have to give him a chance. I have to give him one chance today with Louis Saez. I have to give him one chance, and I'll tell you right now.
Louis Saez is annoyed.
I have to give.
He's riding him, and you picked him.
I will give him another chance when he goes back to the turf if he doesn't win today.
Can't win an argument like that because this horse has absolutely no chance on paper. So if he wins, God bless you.
My assumption is Kieran McLaughlin saw what I saw last time because Louis Saez is riding this horse today. That's my assumption, and I haven't talked to anybody.
Okay, I'm going to I just want to warn the kids at home. Whatever Anthony did when he was handicapping this race, don't do it. Stay away. Just say no.
But you don't even know what it is.
Just say no.
You don't even know
I
what
took
I
a
could've
shot
been
with
doing.
Kingfish in here for Linda dropping off the layup. It's a bit of a stab. For what it's worth, 188 plus layups, maiden special, maiden claimers. Linda is 4 for 12. I just thought this horse could be a little bit interesting at times, has shown a little bit of run. I do think very much Tercero's the horse to beat, and those are the two that I'm basically going to hone in here. I didn't, Judge Alexander, I'll probably throw in a little bit.
Almost
this horse
have
has
to,
run
right?
against better horses. So you don't have Judge Alexander
Listen,
in the top four.
I'm closing.
And you've
I
got-
want to close to half the field. I left 8 horses open in here.
13.
There was missed trouble on the triple line now.
What's the difference? That was a turf race.
Okay.
Anyhow. All righty. We're done. It's been a pleasure. Should we do this again tomorrow?
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I love our new digs in here. All right.
You're confident we'll be back in here tomorrow?
Were we right? You had fun, right? You enjoyed this. If you're not a member of Ira Bets, the way to
Nope.
enjoy this even further, because you never know. If you
He
don't,
purposely
if you-
dragged the show out for no arm wrestling match, by the way. Just letting everybody know at home.
Anthony, if I arm wrestled you, my arm might end up like it'd be like, what is that movie? Is it Bride of Frankenstein when he rips the arm off at the end of the movie? Right?
Oh, man.
Here's a good trivia. You know that when I was a kid, Basil Rathbone lived in a friend of ours building in New York.
Wow.
Yeah, famous building actually. Anyhow, you know his
That's
neighbor.
trivia?
You know his neighbor was.
That's trivia.
It's just kind of compared to those horror movies, right? Wasn't Basil Rathbone? Was he like the Hound of the Baskervilles?
Hey, he was the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a big star. Anyhow, free $25 bet, plus we'll match for $200 your initial deposit. Use the promo code CUP25. NIRABets.com. Support racing in New York. Racing cannot afford to have racing taken out of the game. It's bad enough they pay jerks like us.
Speak for yourself.
I thought that was a great point. Anyhow, America's Day at the Races starting momentarily. Johnny I up next with a reprise of Scratches and Changes.